All right, let's get started. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Andy Mitchell with the U.S. Department of Energy. I'd like to welcome you to today's webinar, Save Energy and Money in Troffer Lighting. Join the Interior Lighting Campaign now. It's brought to you by the U.S. Department of Energy's Better Buildings program. And at this point, all participants are in listen-only mode. Okay, we're happy to have as our speakers today Michael Meyer of the Pacific Northwest National Laboratory and Bill Connolly of the Yamaha Motor Corporation. Bill Connolly is the facility manager for Yamaha Motor Corporation based in Cypress, California. He has more than 40 years experience in facility management across different buildings and has been a proponent of sustainable operations for over 25 years. So he is certainly no rookie. Bill has worked on LEED projects and other sustainability practices and was an original member of the International Facility Management Association, that's IFMA's Sustainability Committee. Integral part of the development of Sustainability Facility Professional Credential and authored 2 how-to sustainability guides. Also joining us, Michael Meyer, the Senior Lighting Researcher from the Pacific Northwest National Lab. Michael has been with the lab since 2007. He'll be talking to us today a little bit about the advantages of energy-efficient interior lighting, as well as some of the logistics for those of you considering joining the campaign. Michael is involved in several major lighting programs, including appliance standards, lighting energy efficiency and parking campaign, this campaign, and other market transformation programs. He's written many papers and journal articles. He received his MS in lighting from Rensselaer Polytech and has the LC Lighting Professional credential since 2003. Okay, with that, I'm going to give a brief introduction to the Better Buildings Initiative, hopefully to give some context for where the interior lighting campaign fits into our overall strategy. After that, Michael Meyer will give us an overview of Troffers and the interior lighting campaign, and then we will hear Bill Connolly from Yamaha talk to us a little bit more about the process they're going through there. And then we'll do some Q&A at the end. So some info on Better Buildings Challenge. So the Better Buildings Initiative is made up of the Better Buildings Alliance and Better Buildings Challenge. The goal is to make commercial, industrial buildings, and multifamily housing 20% more efficient in 10 years. So through the Better Buildings Alliance, members in different market sectors work with the U.S. Department of Energy's exceptional network of research and technical experts to develop and deploy innovative, cost-effective, energy-saving solutions that lead to better technologies, more profitable business, and better buildings in which we work, shop, eat, stay, and learn. So these voluntary demonstrations go on across the spectrum of buildings in the U.S. There are voluntary demonstrations of energy-efficient technologies. Companies use our resources to decide whether or not to proceed. Others are able to demonstrate their leadership. We spend more than $200 billion each year as a nation to power our country's commercial buildings. The goal of the BVA is to bring that number down and to do that without affecting productivity. True efficiency means doing the same or more while using less. In this case, we're talking about using less energy, spending less money on it. Once we're spending less money on it, that capital is freed up so that we can spend it on reinvesting in the American economy, hiring more workers, purchasing more American-made equipment, investing in more American companies. Lighting is a key opportunity for that. That's what brings us all here today. It's also one of the reasons that energy efficiency efforts generally have support from business community as well as sustainability advocates. They also have broad bipartisan support here in Washington. Next slide, please. Just a quick overview of some of the companies and organizations that are affiliated with the Better Buildings Challenge. A lot of names you recognize, iconic American brands, maybe your alma mater or place of business. I just bring this up to emphasize that we do have a broad reach, we do have a lot of momentum and a lot of support. So next up, why do partners join the Better Buildings Initiative? It's pretty straightforward, and these 3 reasons are going to carry over to the interior lighting campaign. Number 1, access to experts, tools, and resources. We hear from our members a lot that their primary source of information is sales reps, and those sales reps have a tough job to do and a valuable job, but sometimes it helps to have an independent third-party source for information, and our experts, tools, and resources provide that. Second reason, peer-to-peer learning. We provide best practices. For instance, Bill today is going to tell us a little bit about how Yamaha went through their process, and we can use that to learn. Case studies, implementation models are available on our website. The peer-to-peer learning is a key part. And then finally, public recognition. A lot of the members of the Better Buildings Alliance, and certainly if you decide to join the interior lighting campaign, you may already have a project in the works. You may have done some pretty incredible things in interior lighting recently. This is an opportunity for you to get recognition for that. Next up, again, just trying to give some context for where this fits in. The Better Buildings technical teams, we do separate out technical solutions into 8 categories. Lighting and electrical is one of them, but it's certainly probably the highest profile. I think many people in the meeting today probably are aware that lighting has one of the best financial returns of any project, particularly if you're moving from an older system to a newer system. It also lights up, right? So if you do a lighting upgrade, it's something that's highly visible for your employees, for your visitors. It's something that shows that you are making an effort and doing a good job on energy efficiency. And conversely, if you have lousy, old, outdated lighting, most people can see that pretty quick when they visit your facility. So there is that to keep in mind. Moving forward, just to explain a little bit how we as the Department of Energy decided to focus on interior lighting. Why don't you give me one more slide there, Michael? We basically take input from our Better Buildings member, and we combine that with a more technical analysis of energy conservation measures that we include in our P tool, our prioritization tool. So we go through some 20 different criteria when we evaluate these technologies, such as the ones we recommend in the interior lighting campaign. And we're evaluating them for unit savings, national technical potential, deployment readiness. Are they ready for prime time out in the marketplace? And is marketing and manufacturing in place? Are they cost effective? Do they have a high potential? And we rank order them, hundreds of them. What we do is come up with a list of high impact technologies that we focus on. So to the next slide, when we recognize those high impact technologies, we will start campaigns around them. 2 current campaigns that are going on: lighting energy efficiency in parking, that is upgrading parking lights, and the advanced rooftop unit campaign. You can see an Adidas store there in New York City. You can't see the rooftop units, but they're there, and Adidas did a fantastic job providing some backstory on the units they chose and how they went about doing that. We intend to offer the same service in the interior lighting campaign. So next up to the question, why are we focusing on interior lighting? Why an interior lighting campaign, and why Troffers? Well, when we rank ordered these different energy conservation measures, the 2x4 lighting Troffers with control came up as #1. They are everywhere. Michael's going to get into this in a second, but whatever room you're in right now, better than average chance that if you look up, you are sitting under a Troffer, and making them even just a little bit more efficient can have a profound effect on energy use and capital in our nation. So with that, I am going to hand it off to Michael to talk us through some of the technologies we're recommending and the process of joining the campaign. Michael, take it away.
Thanks, Andy. Andy did a great job highlighting everything that I'm going to talk about and giving a great preview. I want to reemphasize energy. Lots of savings potential, lots of, Troffers are high energy using devices in mass quantities, but also moving beyond energy savings, we're now seeing also some non-energy benefits by when you replace the fixture, they're able to couple it with either sensor technology for wayfinding in certain building types, or possibly combine it with other sensor types. So we're finding that in the process, people are economizing different choices they're making by adding in multiple sensor types. And by going to a new fixture or a new guts of a fixture, you're able to get more value out of what your existing light fixture used to be. We keep emphasizing energy. Roughly about 2.6% of all primary energy used in the United States is related to lighting. That translates roughly to about 1% of all energy. And that includes, when we say primary, that means everything that goes into the power plant or transportation fuels. So if you think about all the energy we use in the United States, Troffer lighting alone is about 1% of that. It's pretty significant. Or bringing it back to the building, about 20% of your building energy usage is lighting, and Troffers are typically 50%. It varies by building type. Andy also mentioned that these are ubiquitous. There's roughly about 367 million Troffers in the United States. I like this graphic because the man with the light bulb reemphasizes that. So there's roughly one Troffer per person in the United States. Or if you're thinking about your building portfolio in terms of square feet, one Troffer for every 240 square feet of your building. Many of you on the phone probably have millions or even billions of square footage under your control or management, and that's a lot of Troffers very quickly to think about. Now we're going to get into some of the technical specifics. This lays a good introduction before we get into the lighting campaign itself. Efficacy, it's the conversion of one into another. Easiest thing to think about is something like miles per gallon in a car. And we rate light fixtures in luminaire efficacy rating. That's typical for a lot of fixtures, or luminaire efficacy. They're very similar terms. And the key thing to understand there is you might have a fluorescent light bulb that's extremely efficient, but that doesn't mean that the fixture itself is efficient, and we'll discuss that in a second. Constantly, I'm often asked questions, well, my fluorescent light bulbs is 90 lumens per watt. Why am I not competing with other technologies? And the answer is that, well, when you put it in the fixture, you're losing light output, so your fixture is less efficient, and so you have to think about it from the holistic lighting fixture point of view. This slide does a great job of all the different types of light fixtures out there. Starting at the upper left, those are the earliest types of Troffers, and they're about 70 lumens per watt, moving all the way down to the bottom right. These are relatively newer Troffers that were released fluorescent at the time, in around 2000, 2005. These are pretty efficient. They're 73 lumens per watt. But the key thing to take away from the slide is there are many different types of Troffers. They come in 1 foot by 4 foot configurations, all the way up to 2 foot by 4 foot configurations. And depending on your optical system you're choosing, your efficiency or efficacy will vary. That moves into the next slide where, so if you think about all Troffers in general, we're roughly about 66 lumens per watt per Troffer. And why that's important is that that's pretty much near the top peak of fluorescent technology. We are seeing some gain, and we see some really outliers who were manufacturers who really pushed it. But we've also seen now some LED Troffers, and either super high-end fluorescent and or LED Troffers now are coming in at 85 lumens to 110, 120 lumens per watt. That's a significant energy improvement just going for one-for-one replacement. It's a great example is, think about the Honda Civic. It's an fuel-efficient car already, but then when you start considering your other options, such as the Prius, not only are you gaining more fuel efficiency, you're gaining other benefits and other features. And that's a key thing that we'll keep mentioning, is that we're finding that as people consider other technologies and other choices, it's those features that help them make certain economic cases or benefits that they weren't expecting. That brings us to the Troffer conundrum. What do? Do you have fluorescent lamps? Do you consider other fluorescent options, just replacing lamps and for one, or other modifications? Maybe you think about TLEDs, or tubular LEDs as we call them. These are LEDs in the form factor tube, or maybe a retrofit kit, which is where you leave the housing itself and pull out the guts, or possibly a new fixture. The Troffer conundrum is really about 8 different options, starting at the top, which is do nothing, which saves no energy. As you move down the list, from doing nothing to replacing the lamps to replacing the guts and making it a kit or a new fixture, you'll see that your energy savings potential only increases. Your risk also varies depending on what you choose. Some of the options that exist out there, such as replacing the lamps, while it might be cost effective on a first or early analysis, they bring some risk. There was a recent recall of some TLEDs that have made the news, and people have been talking about it. Also, when you start pairing them with controls, you may not get your desired results, and that's something to think about. So again, your options really are doing nothing to possibly a new fixture and energy savings range, as well as cost options. At this point, I'm going to highlight 2 different, as Andy mentioned, case studies. These were presented at the 2015 Better Building Summit. The first one is MGM Resorts. This is a new IT space in Las Vegas, supporting the casino and hotel MGM Resorts of all their myriad places. They're replacing about 800 2x2 Troffers, and they managed to see a 68% energy savings. This slide really just kind of covers really what they did. Is they added in controls. They actually analyzed everything, as I mentioned as part of the preview of the Troffer conundrum, where they looked at just replacing it with certain types of lamps. Then they looked at all the way up to new LED fixtures coupled with controls. And notice the significant difference from option 1 to option 6 in terms of their energy usage. It's almost a factor of 4 in difference, as well as the cost of ownership change is significant as well. They're able to realize almost 125,000 kilowatt hours saved annually. In addition, they found that there was additional benefits and additional costs. So what they did is they went to, for the LED Troffers, they went to a distributed kind of network, for the best way to describe it, where there was a power supply that kind of in a spider pattern controlled 4 or 5 different fixtures. In the process, they were able to train their contractor in the process and reduce costs. They actually monetized what was the cost per conduit, what is the cost for switch, what is the labor for all installing that, not just how much is it per fixture and what is our energy savings. And the contractor benefited from that because they were able to sell their jobs based on knowing more about controls and LEDs. MGM was able to sell the job to their management and their internal economics teams because they were able to think through every different aspect of the economics, not just first cost of the fixture itself. Another case study that was recently presented at the 2015 Better Building Summit is Princeton University. This is at the Carl Incon Lab. They just happen to also be replacing about 800 2x2 Troffers. I don't know what it is about that fixture type or in quantity. It just happened to be the exact same. They were able to realize a 24% energy savings. That's just on the equipment. And then they've added in controls. Their control system just came online, so we don't have MMB of that yet. What's unique about what they did is they actually did not replace the entire fixture. They went with the retrofit kit. The reason why was they found labor was prohibitive in replacing their whole fixture at their institution based on their economics. They did actually incorporate with the wireless retrofit kits wireless sensors, and they are also able to talk to their larger building control energy system. They found that they were able to achieve equal or better lighting results. The table below shows what the mean results, the mean illuminance, which is the light falling on the work surface, as well as the max-min, which is kind of an idea of how the values vary across the space. And both in the LED cases, they were actually able to save energy and actually get more light in the process. And they're quite happy with their results. Moving into the interior lighting campaign, it was officially launched at the May 2015 Better Building Summit. It's a co-sponsored by BOMA, the Building Owners and Managers Association, the Department of Energy, the U.S. General Services Administration, the Illuminating Engineering Society, and the International Facility Management Association, IFMA. Their URL there is interiorlightingcampaign.org, as well as if you're tweeting about it or using other social media, we do ask for the hashtag as shown there to be used, just so we can keep track of things. Why did these organizers come to the table? Well, first, the Department of Energy is very interested, as Andy mentioned, about the alliances and promoting energy efficiency and gaining building efficiency. So that was a natural fit because of this high energy usage of Troffers. BOMA, they like to claim that their tagline is, if you don't sleep in that building, they probably manage it. So essentially, office, industrial, commercial spaces, that's BOMA's portfolio. Troffers are a fair amount of their energy usage in their lighting, and they're interested in helping their members also achieve energy savings. The Illuminating Engineering Society, this is a trade group in the United States where they promote lighting recommendations, lighting guidelines. They were a fit because they're interested in helping people find out about better lighting options, lighting quality, and other metrics. The U.S. General Services Administration, they have the unique position of being both a co-sponsor as well as the largest potential participant. They have over 1.5 million Troffers under their auspices alone. So they're interested for that reason, probably more than anything else, but other reasons for their sustainability efforts. And finally, IFMA, as Bill's a member of, and we'll hear a little more about them later, they're also managing about 39 billion square feet. Again, facility managers, they're responsible for the efficiency of the building, costs, which are always something that everyone always wants to bring down. So they're interested in helping their members learn more as well. The goal, it's pretty straightforward at the moment. It's 100,000 Troffers, either retrofitted with new tubes, kits, or new fixtures, or new construction that meet the requirements specified on the website by May 2016. This roughly equates to 10 million square feet of lighted area, or 5 million kilowatt hours saved annually, or about 450 homes energy usage. And that translates to $500,000 in savings, and everyone likes that. As Andy mentioned in the beginning, one of the things the Department of Energy's Better Building Alliance does is tries to recognize people. We've found through some little friendly competition and positive peer pressure that the awards process related to campaigns is a desired effect, and people like it. So we are actually providing awards as part of the campaign. They are for both new construction sites and retrofit sites for buildings of various sizes. We realize that a bank may not be able to compete with a large box store, and so depending on the number of Troffers in the building, the awards are tailored around that. Also, the awards are tailored around organizations that do multiple sites, or organizations that are deploying very novel uses of controls related to Troffers. We keep emphasizing energy savings, and replacing fixtures will get you most of the way there or half of the way there, depending on your choices. But controls will really take us the next step and really push energy savings up even more. And there are people out there who are really cutting edge with controls, and we'd like to recognize that. There are two different types of entities that can participate in the interior lighting campaign. They can be participants, and we'll learn more about who they are and what they are in a second, as well as supporters. These are people who are less likely to actually manage lighting specifically, but might be either a utility or an engineer, people who play a role that is important, but don't ultimately make the decision on replacing equipment or have to pay for some of it. Why become a participant? Benefits and features. It's easy. First, limited technical assistance. The Department of Energy is providing, through third party, some technical assistance. I say some because ultimately they can't actually have people out there doing design documentation. But if you have questions about either a specific technology, questions about, concerns about some of the different terms you're hearing from manufacturers or your colleagues, there's a lot of change happening in the lighting industry right now, and you need to pay attention to it. So the technical assistants can answer some of the questions and help you ferret out some of that. Also, if you have some specification guidance or need help in reviewing or writing an RFP, that's where some of the technical assistance can come in as well. The campaign website, we have lots of information that you might be beneficial. There's a specification that you can take and incorporate into an RFP if need be. There's case studies, fact sheets. We'll see more about these in a second. And also, for a reason why you might want to participate is recognition and possible award for your good energy efforts. As I mentioned, here are some of those resources. We also, in addition to technical assistance, we have gone out and culled all the different utilities, as many as we could find in the United States, and focused on what incentive they offer specifically related to Troffers and or controls. And we have a spreadsheet you can download, and you can sort by your location or your utility. Say, oh, I want to replace this, and you can go try to find what's available for you. Especially works for those great multi-state organizations where they're having to try to keep track of many different utility programs. We also have a lighting project evaluator. This is a web-based tool that maybe if you're considering a couple different options, you can input some information into the project evaluator. It'll also factor in the use of controls and give you some comparisons without you having to do a lot of effort. Here's a screenshot of the interior lighting campaign website. It's very easy. Key thing here to take away is it doesn't take much to join. As Andy mentioned earlier, and especially in our survey, this is a low commitment to do anything. We're not taking money. We're not following up with you to harass you. We might actually reach out to you to offer assistance or answer questions, but it is an early, easy way to join, and you get a lot of benefit out of it. Another screenshot is, here, as you mentioned, it takes probably 10 minutes, less than 10 minutes, depending on your web savviness and basic information you know about your organization to join either as a participant or as a supporter. Why you might want to be a supporter: help promote your efforts to your customers or people you didn't know could possibly be your customers, whether it be an incentive program or basic information you want to get out related to the interior lighting campaign. Here's a slide of some of the founding supporters. You'll see on here a lot of utilities. some non-government organizations as well. And this list is growing as well. So if your organization's not on here, hopefully we can help get your organization on here. At this point, I'm going to turn the presentation over to my colleague, Bill Connolly from Yamaha Motor Corporation, who's going to discuss Yamaha's efforts as they consider upgrading some of their facility to the Troffers.
Thanks, Michael. Go to the next slide, please. I am the facility manager for Yamaha Motor Corporation in Cypress, California. We're the corporate offices of the United States enterprises here that handles motorcycles, ATVs, off-road vehicles, and stuff like that. We have about 278,000 square feet here. It's a multi-function facility. As you can see, we have offices, we have new business planning, we have R&D, which is our testing labs, and accessories distribution, which is a warehouse. And each of those different areas deserve different lighting applications, and that's one of the things we're looking at. As a facility manager, my job, or part of my job, is to provide sustainable operations. I want to save money, I want to save energy, and also improve the quality of life in the workplace. And lighting is one of the easiest and most cost-effective ways to achieve those goals. Yamaha joined the ILC in order to be part of a campaign that affords us the opportunity to become more sustainable. We want to do this. We know that ILC will help us do this. Next slide, please. So our lighting challenge, of course, energy. As Michael stated, lighting consumes a significant amount of energy, and we can cut that down easily. Using LED tubes as a baseline. My preference is LED. I know there's long-life fluorescents out there too, but I'm really focusing on LEDs because of some of the benefits they offer to us. But it's simple math. If you put a 16-watt LED tube in and replace a 32-watt T8, that's 50% savings right there. You've cut your energy consumption down by half. Another thing you have to understand too is when you every 3 watts of lighting you cut the need for 1 watt of air conditioning. And so as you put in lower wattage tubes, you're cutting down the heat load, and LEDs also run cooler than T8, so you'll be saving on it. You'll be saving energy in your air conditioning too. Another issue we have is replacement of the current T8s. We've estimated here that it's about $75 per lamp to replace a lamp. A person has to be called, they have to mobilize, they have to respond to the area, they have to replace the lamp, then they have to discard it. So that's $75 per. Last year we replaced 1,470 T8 fluorescents and 242 ballasts. Based on that $75 per event, that's about $128,000 in labor that we would be able to save if we had LEDs that lasted longer than the T8s did. T8s may be less expensive short term, but compared to the life of the LEDs, it's not a good option for us. And with high efficiency Troffers and LEDs, we can see energy savings and the minimal replacement costs. Next slide, please. So we have 3,201 Troffers in the facility, holding 7,860 lamps. Except for our exterior lighting, it's one size fits all. They're all T8 32-watt fluorescents. Lighting applications, as I mentioned in the first slide, there are different needs for different areas, and reconfiguring and going through a retrofit would mean that we would be able to replace appropriate lighting in appropriate places. For instance, in our warehouse, you probably only need 24-foot candle at the floor level for them to see well. At a desktop, it's 32 to 34-foot candle. In our R&D labs, we need about 74-foot candle at the desktop. So we would be able to, when we do the reconfigurations, make sure that we have appropriate lighting. We don't waste lighting in any areas. Next slide, please. This is a picture of a typical office layout. You can see the rows and rows and rows of the 2x4 Troffers. You can't see that off to the left. There's a lot of windows, and our facility is really surrounded by windows. We have 7-foot windows just about everywhere, which gives us the opportunity for daylighting. ASHRAE standard 90.1/2010 has actually stated that you need photosensors within 15 feet of glazing. If you do a retrofit in your building of more than 10%, you have to have controls on there. So if we went this route, we would be basically forced to do controls. So cost notwithstanding, it's something that we'll want to end up doing. And Title 24 here in California and the federal government are both close to adopting that standard for federal facilities and also for new construction here in California. So controls between photocells and occupancy sensors would really help us cut down on our lighting in the office there. Next slide, please. Here's another look at another office. Again, you can see the rows and rows of Troffers there. Anytime we have to go in and replace the light, of course, there's going to be work disruption. But also, if you look, we have no task lighting on our desks. However, aisleways, hallways, and stuff like that don't need that amount of light. So it gives us a good opportunity to do delamping, go down to a 2x2 instead of a 2x4 because we don't need all that light. Another good thing about LEDs too is what I refer to as target efficiency rating, TER. Michael mentioned lighting efficacy rating, but target efficacy rating is basically how much light is actually reaching the target. And because LEDs are more directional, they provide a better application in some of these office settings. Next slide, please. So this is one of our hallways we have. This one's about 600 feet long, and again, on the left side, you can see all the glazing we have here. This is way too much light for a hallway, which basically just needs wayfinding. There's no tasks that are going to be performed here, unless there's hijinks, rollerball or something. So again, a great opportunity for photometrics, for daylighting, for daylight harvesting, for delamping, cutting down all that light, and going to high efficiency Troffers would help us do that. Next slide, please. Here's a picture of one of our stairwells. Those used to be T12s. I caught that and changed them out to T8s, which is fine for now. But you don't even need that amount of light for accent lighting. A couple of canned LEDs in there would work fine, and again, would save us, X amount of energy on that. Next slide, please. One of our major challenges we have is our warehouse. Most of it is high bay lighting. It's very time-consuming to go and change out these lamps. Again, we do a one-to-one. We don't do any group relamping. It's every time a light goes out or a ballast goes out, we have to go up and replace it. We need to use a scissors lift, or if there's not one available, we need a forklift with a cage, which makes it a two-person job. Where we estimated $75 per lamp replacement in the office setting, in the warehouse, I would say at least that's double, $150 or more. Again, to replace each one of those lamps. Next slide, please. Some of the issues we have is fixtures are over the racks. They're very hard to get to or inaccessible. The age of the fixtures is something we're concerned with. In the warehouse especially, we're experiencing arcing at the sockets. We've had actually flare-ups and fires up there. Luckily, they go out quickly and the socket just burns itself out. However, it's definitely an issue showing the age of the fixtures and the age of the Troffers. Plus, if a fire starts up there, it's really hard to access. So, again, it's another good argument to change these out to good new Troffers with LED lamps where we don't have to climb up there 3-4 times a week and spend time and money on it. Next slide, please. So my rationale for retrofit, energy efficiency, again, replacing a 32 watt with a 16 watt, that's a 50% reduction right there. The lamp life, LEDs last 4 to 5 times longer last time I looked. I know the long life fluorescents probably have a longer lifespan, but even so, to me, LEDs are a better idea. Lighting quality, we want to make sure we have the appropriate lighting in the right spaces. Control, so that we can continue minimizing energy use, and then minimize our replacement needs. Next slide, please. So our options, as Michael mentioned earlier, I want to go LEDs personally. We can do a lamp for lamp. We can do a retrofit kit or Troffer replacement. There's a cost to each of those, obviously. They escalate from $30 to $350 per unit. ROI could be anywhere from 21 months to 36 months, but something I keep telling my groups is basically ROI and payback is important, but when you finally balance the books, your energy savings don't stop. Your need to, or lack of need to replace lamps doesn't stop. So the best way to look at the impact that replacing Troffers and going with LEDs would be do a net present value calculation, go out over 20 years, which is an estimated life of an LED, and look at the major impact of cost savings and energy savings, because again, ROI is fine. Once the ROI is reached, the energy savings continue, and people have to understand that this is a long-term solution, not just a short-term solution. Next slide, please. Here's some pictures of some defunct Troffers we took down, gone but not forgotten. Next slide, please. And here's some calculations that Mike put together for me. This is what I call conservative speculation on what we could do. It's talking about 19-watt LED lamps. We're not sure 16, 19. We have to look at the application there. We based it on 2,080 hours, which is our standard work week, 40 hours a week. But these are some of the things we look for and some of the ammunition that I plan to bring to bear in a good argument. So that's the beginning of our story. Keep tuned to the ILC webpage. You may be able to see a case study in development, ours. And thank you all for attending today. And Andy, I'll pass this back to you.
Great. Thank you, Michael. We are at the top of the hour now, so I want to wrap up. I would like to thank everyone for joining us and just direct you again to our website on the final slide, interiorlightingcampaign.org. It is a government website. We started off with that org suffix because of our partnerships. We weren't able to get to everyone's questions. Please do contact us through that website. We are very eager to entertain your questions. I hope this was helpful for the attendees, for those considering joining. We welcome you whether you have one fixture to include in the campaign or 1 million. With that, I will close it up, and everyone have a great day. Thanks.